Hello, today I'm going to be talking about the roof tool. I had a couple of questions about how to manage and operate with roofs and make custom roofs. So I'm going to go through this as quickly as I can today. First of all, I am going to start with just a basic roof here, and if I pull from the roofs I have available in my template favorites, I can get to just a basic shingle roof. And then looking at the settings here, if I go into the settings, I can go to a multi-plane roof or a single plane roof, individual planes. Typically I like to work with the single plane roof, but I'm going to show you something really quickly with the multi-plane roof. I'm going to say OK here. I'm going to draw out a custom geometry, and this allows me to go out and draw literally any shape of roof given distances, etc. You can just trace it around and get a basic roof shape like this. It's going to ask for a direction for the shingles, and you notice it makes a basic hip. And if this is all the more complicated your roof is, the multi-plane roof is great because it gives you an option to set your overhang globally for the whole project. So I can set a 3-foot overhang, a 2-foot overhang, whatever I want, and the roofs are all adjusted. Now when it comes to adjusting this roof, I can grab nodes and start playing around and give it a gable end and stretch things in and out, make changes to individual planes. I can adjust and offset ridge lines to give kind of a lopsided gable. But if it starts to get any more complicated than this at all, than basic hips and gable ends, it really doesn't make sense to use the multi-plane roof. Sometimes it's great to start with a multi-plane roof and you can just come in here and split to single plane roofs. Now this is where you really get options to start playing around with individual slopes and intersections. You can start pulling some of this stuff apart. You can start pushing and pulling nodes around with the pet palette. And if you wanted to start with a single plane roof, which is what I do most of the time, it's just so much easier, you simply start here and draw a reference line. That's the line that the roof hinges on. Usually I place that to the inside face of the stud and give it a direction. So that's where it's hinging. This is pointing to the ridge, and just draw it out like you normally would. And I'm going to show you how quickly actually this can also create hip roofs and adjustments. So this is sloping up to the ridge line here. If we look at that in 3D, it's a simple 3 and 12 roof slope. Now if I want to hip off of this corner, all I have to do is mirror a copy across that corner and trim these together. So I have this roof and this roof as individual roofs. Selecting this roof and holding down the Command key and clicking on that roof edge. Sorry about that. And then selecting this ridge or roof and clicking on this edge. And now we have a basic hip roof. If I wanted a ridge, I can mirror this one across and do the same thing here, selecting this roof and trimming to this edge, and inverting that, selecting this roof and trimming to this edge, selecting this roof and trimming to that edge. Gives me hips and ridges. I can do the same thing with valleys actually. So now if I mirror this across, here I have a roof sloping up this way and one sloping up this way. Selecting this one, I can trim there. And again, all I'm doing is selecting the roof that I want to trim to or extend to. And it also works if the roof extends through that. So you can, it's less of trimming and extending, it's more of joining. But select the roof that I want to join to, hold down the Command key, that gives me the scissors on the edge that I'm going to trim to, and click. And that's literally all there is to it. So now I have these roofs forming hips, ridges, and valleys, and I can still push and pull and extend. I can offset these edges out, so if I pull this back into here and I realize that I want to have a 2-foot overhang using the offset command on the pet palette, I can offset that edge out 2 feet. One thing to note is this typically will offset parallel to the roof slope. So I've been in the habit of, if you right click after you select offset and select editing plane and horizontal, it's going to extrude it out 2 feet in the horizontal distance. That's when you're editing in 3D. If you're editing in 2D, it's always in the horizontal plane. So if I come from here and offset that out 2 feet, and come in here, and once I get one edge offset, then I can really quickly adjust the other ones to match the correct overhang. So even using single plane roofs, you can really quickly come into a pretty detailed and elaborate roof shape. So that's really all you need to know about using single plane roofs and trimming them together, or starting with multi-plane roofs and joining them together and converting to single plane afterwards. I hope this was helpful, and I'll catch you next time.